The old abandoned house had always intrigued Dylan. He had heard stories of a family who disappeared without a trace, and he was determined to uncover the truth. As he explored the dusty rooms, he heard strange noises and felt a chill in the air. Suddenly, a ghostly figure appeared before him, and Dylan felt a wave of fear wash over him. The figure whispered, "You should not have come here," before vanishing into thin air. Dylan turned to leave but found the door was now locked. He was trapped, alone, and at the mercy of the vengeful spirits that haunted the house. Jenny had always been fascinated by the old cemetery near her home. She had heard rumors of a ghostly figure that roamed the grounds at night, but she never believed them. One evening, she decided to explore the cemetery on her own. As she wandered among the headstones, she felt a chill in the air and heard whispers on the wind. Suddenly, a cold hand reached out and grabbed her ankle, pulling her down into an open grave. She screamed as she tumbled into the darkness, the lid slamming shut above her. She was trapped, alone, and surrounded by the restless spirits of the dead. Emma had always been afraid of the woods, but her friends convinced her to join them on a camping trip. As they set up their tents, Emma felt like they were being watched. As night fell, strange noises echoed through the trees, and the fire flickered in the wind. Suddenly, they heard something rustling in the bushes. They grabbed their flashlights and investigated, but they found nothing. As they returned to their campsite, they realized Emma was missing. They searched frantically but found no trace of her. As they sat huddled in their tents, they couldn't help but wonder, what could have happened to Emma? Do you have any theories? In the dark forest stood an ancient, cursed tree. One night, a group of teenagers approached it and heard a chilling whisper. They vanished, their screams echoing. Only one escaped. Years later, the survivor returned to uncover the truth. As he approached the tree, he saw ghostly apparitions of his friends. Their whispers warned him to stay away. As Sarah tucked her daughter into bed, she noticed a strange shadow on the wall. She dismissed it as her imagination and left the room, but the shadow continued to grow, spreading its twisted tendrils across the wall. Night after night, the shadow grew larger until it engulfed the entire room. Sarah tried to ignore it, but the shadow had other plans. One night, as Sarah reached for the light switch, the shadow grabbed her, pulling her into its dark abyss. Her daughter's screams echoed through the empty house as the shadow consumed them both. I woke up in the middle of the night to a tapping on my window. I sat up and saw a figure standing outside, its face pressed against the glass. I couldn't make out any features, but I could feel its eyes staring at me. I was paralyzed with fear. The tapping continued, growing louder and more insistent. I wanted to run, to scream, but I couldn't move. Finally, the figure spoke, in a voice that chilled me to the bone. "Do you want to play a game? What would you do if you were in my shoes?" As a real estate agent, I thought I had seen it all. But when I entered the abandoned house, I felt a chill run down my spine. The air was thick with dust and a musty smell. Every step made the floorboards creak, and the walls seemed to whisper something ominous. Suddenly, a cold hand grabbed my shoulder, and I turned around to see no one there. As I left the house, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Why did the previous owners leave everything behind? And what was that thing that touched me? Do you believe in haunted houses? Question: have you ever experienced something unexplainable in an old, abandoned place? Share your story in the comments. The old abandoned mansion on the outskirts of town was notorious for its dark past. People whispered of strange sightings and eerie sounds emanating from within its walls. One night, a group of teenagers dared each other to spend the night inside. As the night wore on, they heard footsteps and whispering, but when they searched the mansion, they found no one. Suddenly, the doors and windows slammed shut, trapping them inside. They soon realized they were not alone, and something was hunting them. Will they make it out alive? What do you think was hunting them inside the mansion? In the final showdown, the hero and the villain faced each other. Sparks flew as their spells collided, each determined to come out on top. It was a fierce battle, but the hero managed to defeat the villain, banishing him to a world of darkness. As the dust settled, the hero took a deep breath and looked around at the devastation left in the wake of their epic battle. The question on everyone's mind was, which movie was this epic showdown from? Will you be able to guess which classic movie this story is based on? The children of Derry, Maine were terrified of the creature they called It. They knew that every 27 years, it would return to feed on their fear and flesh. The Losers Club, a group of brave kids, defeated it once before. But now, 27 years later, they must return to Derry to face their greatest fear. Will they be able to defeat it again? Question for viewers: have you seen the movie It?